beautiful days shall enrich all of my life. They don't exist as mere images, but they saturate themselves into every part of my being and live always. John Muir.
Welcome aboard the National Geographic Quest. This is our exciting brand new expedition ship, and we're giving her trial runs here in Southeast Alaska, land of rainforests, wildlife, and beautiful scenery. We're going to be going up and down fjords and through the straits and just really trying to learn everything we can about what makes Southeast Alaska tick. We're here at the perfect time of the year. Southeast Alaska at the end of the summer is just teeming with wildlife, so it's going to be a really exciting time for us, and I'm very excited to be trying out our brand new ship, the National Geographic Quest.
Oh, I think it's fabulous. Just awesome, actually. Really, really cool.
Beautiful view. Yeah, spectacular. Cold, a little wet, but that's a beautiful view.
Oh, am I waiting?
Hey, one side look better than the other right now? We're going to be moving through the ice here, and as a general rule, when you're navigating a watercraft, you want to avoid any kind of collision with ice. It's going to be virtually impossible to do that today. We're going to be driving right in the ice. We're going to have ice going through our propeller. These boats are made to take it. So this is sort of the first view that we've had of the full extent of the face of the South Sawyer Glacier. It's about a half a mile wide, and at the calving face, it's about 200 feet high. And of course, the horizon that we see at the top of the ice is quite a bit higher than that. We figure the average age of a chunk of ice that's coming off this glacier is about 225 to 250 years old. And that's the amount of time that it's taken it from the time it was first deposited up on the Sawyer ice fields to come down and calve off at this face. But this is a fantastic ecosystem here, because what we've got is we've got all this fresh water coming in, and because of that we have forage fish populations in here that are able to sustain this population of seals that we see hauled out on the ice. Now, about 120 years ago, the face of this glacier was 2.5 miles back up the fjord. So this glacier is currently receding. Yeah, nice. Oh, hear that. White thunder.
So it's just astonishing that you're standing here and there's 250 years of history right at the waterline, the age of the United States. It just dwarfs our individual experience as a human being who lives, 70, 80, for lucky 100 years.
I don't like cold weather, but it's great. It's really amazing. The colors, the shapes, it's amazing.
If people find Seattle too cheery, they move up here to Juneau, where it rains twice as much. So how's business?
It's going really well.
Thank
you. Any more Bailey's takers? Yeah? Okay, would you like to?
Most exotic location I've ever gotten a hot drink in.
Oh, it's fantastic. We are having the time of our lives. Waiting on the whales. Hopefully they come pretty soon. We'll see.
All right. A humpback whale, that's right. So humpbacks mature at about 40 to 60 feet long, and they come up here in the summer to feed. So in our northern winter, they go to Hawaii. This population will go to Hawaii. But they're up here eating all of the incredibly productive food we have in the ocean here.
So they were just big bubbles, big,
Huge bubbles.
just one, and then like 5 feet later another one, and then 5 feet later another bubble.
This is called LeConte Bay, this outer bay. Then you go up in the fjord, and then you're up at the LeConte Glacier. It's the southernmost tidewater glacier in North America. So the ice comes back out here, it floats out to this point, and it gets stuck on a bar. And that's the terminal moraine that was pushed out by the glacier several thousand years ago. These big pieces are also on the bar, but they have a big keel on them. So they're just, you can imagine a big wall of rock comes up and they're hitting up against it. So a lot of this ice is not free floating. As we see it, when we get near it, you'll see that there's wake around it as the ebb comes out. So we'll cruise around, take a look at some of the features on the ice. The float line isn't too much out, but it's still about 85% of the ice is down below the waterline. So when you have larger pieces, you have enough ice, but also dense enough ice that you're going to get that blue appearance. But it really looks blue after it's turned over, if it's surrounded by water. Once it's exposed to air, it starts to get more of a white coating. But if you chip that back, you would see the blue. So the blue is, the dense ice is just recently turned over out of the water.
Came out early this morning and spray painted it all.
I said take a picture for scale. We're roommates, I don't need to wave at him.
Said he blends in with the blue and the ice.
It looks like a piece of Swiss cheese painted blue. Swiss blue cheese, yeah.
Oh, it looks like your freezer before you emptied it out.
True enough.
Oh, you're not getting any highway noise or any urban disturbances at all. It's just extremely quiet. Very nice.
Petersburg is on Mitkoff Island. This is our first good look at the temperate rainforest of the Tongass. And as we go along, we can talk more about it. If you have any questions, just shout. Shouting is good because there are black bears on this island. We are in the bog now. You can see how it's changed dramatically, but different species of plants, different things in the bog, very saturated soil, very wet, boggy soil, because they're waterlogged and makes the condition very acidic. So only certain plants have evolved in order to grow in these moist, acidic conditions. The sundews and the carnivorous plants have evolved in here because they're getting a lot of their nutrients from the insects that they're attracting and digesting.
What are you doing?
Standing in the bog. It's boggy.
Looks like fun.
Oh, yes, you've got to have the boots. Got to have the boots.
Pondering the bog, yes. It's very interesting. I mean, being up so high, and you always think about bogs being down flat, you know, but to see a bog like this is very, very interesting. It's one of those once in a lifetime things that you get to see.
They're not too bad. Sweeter.
Yeah, they're not, yeah. They're a little tart.
Petersburg, Alaska was founded as a fishing town. The founders of the town knew that the LeConte was a source of ice that keep their catch fresh. And even today, Petersburg is the most productive fishing town on the coast of Alaska.
Hey guys, we are here on Saginaw Bay, and today we're going to be exploring the rainforest, the intertidal zones, and we're going to be having a great time. I'll be leading a couple photo walks, and we're going to be out there with our cameras exploring what the forest has to offer and of course what the intertidal zone has. It's a beautiful sunny day, which is a pretty rare occurrence here in Southeast Alaska, so we'll be taking advantage of that. And for this shot, what I'm doing is using a low aperture, that way everything else blurs out in the background, as opposed to having the background really clear, which would distract from your subject, which in this case is one of these nice changing leaves. So, man, this stuff's stanky.
Got stuck. Stand in one spot, you sink in.
Yeah, you'll sink in. It's very cool.
Lose your boot.
Here, watch.
I'm going to try to save him.
So the way to tell is spruce is not friendly to shake hands with and hemlock is. So these guys are nice and gentle.
Look at those slimy heads.
A banana slug.
Banana slug.
No takers for looking at banana slug?
No takers.
He
said it's a toxin.
Show for sure, yeah.
The more pictures you take, the more chances you have of getting a good one.
Bon voyage.
So we've got some bubble netting whales out here, and they've been consistently coming up. This is probably the 10th time we've seen them come up. And we're just getting a great view because they keep moving around the boat. We've got a hydrophone in the water right now, and you can hear them. And so we've been able to hear the calls of the whales, which is really a special experience, so super cool.
This is a live microphone in the water, but that's actually the whales that we're watching right now. And so they get louder as they get to the surface. They're the loudest just before they all come up and open-mouthed feed. So.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, awesome. So you got to hear them. Yeah, those crazy screams and beautiful tonal sounds, those appear to be targeting the prey, forcing the prey up from, probably 60, 70 to 100 feet up towards the surface where they can then be wrapped in the bubble net. So very remarkable hunting tactic that they use. We have about, I think, somewhere between 500 to 600 whales now in our photo ID database that have been observed joining these pods of hunters. Typically, it's made up of this core community of this 2 to 3 dozen individuals, but other whales can come in and join as they wish, and usually they'll hang around for a day or two and move on. So they're sort of kind of an open, inclusive community, sort of like a food co-op.
3, 4, 5. I think we had 6 now.
Saw great whales. This is my first time ever I've got chill bumps, and not from the wind. It's awesome.
Very cool. Fabulous. Wonderful.
Absolutely.
The organization, we decided there's a cleaner who comes at the end and scoops up what's left. That's our theory. The mop-up guy.
Sort of one of the things you'd hope to see but didn't really expect to see. And on a sunny sky with the mountains behind, it's spectacular. Really good.
And then I think it's time for us to let these whales have the rest of their dinner in peace.
So that was an awesome viewing we just had of that cooperative bubble net feeding. Everyone give them a round of applause. Yay!
morning. It's a beautiful day in southeast Alaska. We're heading for South Marble Island. Maybe see some puffins, and can't complain when you're out here.
Welcome to Glacier Bay National Park, a huge landscape teeming with wildlife, giant mountains, tidewater glaciers, deep fjord waters. Our first stop in Glacier Bay is South Marble Island, a place where we can see stellar sea lions hauled out on rocks, tufted puffins, horned puffins, and all kinds of other birds nesting on the rocky cliff faces. South Marble Island is a wonderful place to look for birds because it basically has Glacier Bay as a moat. The waters surrounding South Marble are teeming with fish for these animals to feed on, and the rocky outcropping provides a really safe location so they can raise their young in peace.
Marble Island's much nicer than Pier 39 in San Francisco, which is an awful, smelly, noisy place.
How have you enjoyed their sounds?
A little bit like your stomach in the morning.
Lumi Knob is another wildlife hotspot. Lumi Knob in Tlingit is called Janwu Ani, means mountain goat land. You never know how many mountain goats you might be able to spot here. The rocky cliff face comes jutting out from the fjord waters and provides a landscape that only goats are capable of walking across. Marjorie and Grand Pacific glaciers, the highlight, the crown jewels of Glacier Bay. A 65-mile one-way journey to come and behold the spectacle that is a tidewater glacier calving ice into the sea. Marjorie Glacier is a mile wide, 250 feet high, 21 miles long, and is a huge, giant, flowing river of ice, moving about 6 to 8 feet a day. It's one thing to see calving, it's another thing to feel it. The sounds of white thunder as that ice breaks off, it's special. Alaska is very interesting and an important place to come and see firsthand because we're the canary in the coal mine in terms of climate change. 95% of the glaciers in Alaska are in a state of retreat. And Marjorie Glacier for the longest time was an exception to this rule. One of those 5% that was still hanging on with a super high mountain providing the right conditions to keep it healthy, even in our warming world. But this year, looks like things are changing. There's some bedrock at the face of this glacier that has never been seen before. And it seems that that's the first sign that it is in a state of decline.
And I'm going to do a song that is a Kagwantan song to signify that they came in peace for the celebration. Hey, ah, hey, any stuff, hey, yeah. Hey, hey, any stuff, yeah. Hey, hey, yeah, hey, yeah, hey. And each of you are on this canoe.
This morning we landed on the north coast of Chichikov. We landed at Fox Creek. A beautiful rainy day, but typical for fall time, and on this part of the coast, we're near the outer coast of the archipelago. And we're going up along the stream into some of the very old growth forest, old growth Sitka spruce. Yeah, bear! Have an opportunity to see spawning pink salmon. Pink salmon come into Fox Creek and they'll be able to spawn even in tidewater, but most of them go further up the stream. Salmon are extremely important for the forest, particularly along the streams and rivers, because they die at after spawning, and also because the bears tend to concentrate along the salmon streams, of course, in order to feed on that abundant resource. They pull the salmon along the banks, feed on what they want, and leave the rest, and that adds fertilizer to the forest. So the forest right along the streams is the most productive, biggest trees, nicest old growth, and it's preserved for that reason. There's an effort to protect the salmon streams.
One of the reasons that this area is so rich with wildlife is Glacier Bay is just around the corner, and we have a ton of, many tons actually, annually, of mineral material that's coming into this area as glacial silt mixed with water. If you notice the water in there is really milky colored, and that's all this mineral material that's dissolved in the water. So that acts like fertilizer for a lot of little plants, the phytoplankton, that are really the basis of this system. That, combined with the fact that we've got a lot of organic nutrients coming in this bottom water that upwells right at the coast here on the outside, combines perfect conditions for lots and lots of productivity. And we get fish, and then as a result of getting fish, we get seals and sea lions and otters and eagles and all kinds of stuff. So it's a super productive system. A seal's got to just lump around like a worm, but these guys can actually walk.
These are not waterproof. They're very heavy. Gonna wring them out when we get back in.
This is Lake Eva and Lake Eva Trail, and we're heading up to the slough to see some salmon. This is a very berry place because this is a very healthy salmon stream. And so there are bears. The other groups have already seen a bear. There's actually a bear in between them. So the walk may not be like the other walks. We may not make our destination. Depends on what the bears are doing. Remember, we're in the bear's backyard. So we're here at Lake Eva, and we had a wonderful bear experience, a young, probably male bear, hunting for salmon. And once he was done, he just went over onto the bridge and was just kind of hanging out, watching us as we watched him. Now, he knows we're here. He knows we're going to make noise.
Of course he did.
You can come down in here, you can see him on the bridge. He's just sitting there. If you want to anthropomorphize it, he's like a 12-year-old. So he's just lying there. He knows we're here. He can hear us and he can scent us, but he doesn't care. And that's not a problem for us now. It's a problem for people later when he becomes a big adult male bear, when he's very used to people. So females will kick out young males earlier. Like, let's say a female has a litter of 3 and 2 are female and 1 is a male cub. She'll start chasing off that male cub after about 2.5 years. She needs to protect the daughters, not the son.
We saw the bear laying on the bridge. A little bit of scratching his back. He was pretty docile, pretty quiet.
I'm trying to zoom in on my iPhone to see if I got him good.
I want to hold him. He's so cute. Little unicorn.
Little old bear scared us off.
It's like nowhere else I've ever been, so I don't even know how to explain that.
I have had a wonderful, wonderful time. New experiences, everything's just wonderful.
It's amazing. It's just so far from my reality. It's a beautiful world we live in.
Bye. Bye, Boo-Boo. Bye.
Wow. Sinking in the mud.